Hi, I'm Robert, the tutorial maker, and this is my overview tutorial for Openoffice version 4 and above. This tutorial works equally well for the current version of LibreOffice, as right now in 2015 they are essentially the same program with very minor differences. Openoffice is the name for a software program that has a bunch of smaller tools for creating different kinds of documents. You can use the word processor, the spreadsheet, or some other program, and they all interact with each other, while at the same time being compatible with most old documents you have, such as Microsoft Word files. Now, when it comes to this kind of software, there are a lot of things called tools. The whole thing is full of this kind of tool and that set of tools and so on. So I'm going to call these individual parts of Openoffice subprograms instead of tools. Think of each subprogram as a state in America. They have a lot of overall similarities when you're comparing them to other countries or programs, but each one has things that make it distinct and different in the details of its appearance and function and what it can create. These subprograms can also be used together to create an end product that one of them alone could not. The tips and techniques I'm going to show in this particular video is like your guide map to Openoffice. You're going to be able to get into the program and you'll be able to find your way around. If at any point you need more help with any of the subprograms or with Openoffice specifics, have a look through my other tutorials. So let's begin. Firstly, open Openoffice. You'll be presented with a set of options, which includes creating a new document in each of the subprograms or opening a file from somewhere on your computer. Let's use Openoffice Writer. This is your basic word processing program. So I'll just type a little text on the page in the central window. This central window is your main work area. If your work needs to go beyond this window, you'll be able to scroll to other sections to view them. The menu bar is a series of drop-down menus, starting with File and going through to the Help menu. Keep in mind that some of the contents inside the drop-down menus can be different depending on which subprogram you are using at the time. However, Help is always exactly the same. If you're confused on how to do something, you can try Help. The best function of this, in my opinion, is to select What's This? And then hover over the different buttons. This gives fuller explanations of what each button does than hovering over them normally, and this can help you a lot when you're just starting out. Once you click somewhere, the What's This function turns off, so you can immediately get back to the thing that you were working on. The File drop-down menu is always the same too, as it allows the creation of new documents, spreadsheets, and so on, or the opening of old ones. It also lets you perform a few other tasks, including saving your work, exporting your work as a PDF, or printing it. You'll notice that each of these options affect the entire document or file, hence the name of this drop-down menu. Just off the top of the main window is the standard toolbar. These buttons give you access to some of the most common functions across all the document types. So you have things like open, save, print, cut, copy and paste, right down to help. The standard toolbar is basically a way of getting easy access to the functions you are going to be using most frequently. So don't worry, clicking open here is exactly the same as clicking open in the file drop-down menu. They're all the same buttons. So for instance, I could go into Tools and select Gallery. I'll click on an image I want, drag my selection into the main area. But instead of going into Tools again to close the gallery, I just need to click the Gallery button in the standard toolbar. It just clicks on and off, which is much quicker than going through the drop-down menus. This easy functionality is the same for the other toolbars. But where are the other toolbars though? It can be hard at first to tell where one toolbar ends and another begins. So when you're looking at all of the buttons and you see a vertical line of grey dots, you have found the beginning of a new toolbar. If you don't like where that toolbar is positioned, left-click and drag on that grey line, and a greyed out rectangle will follow your cursor until you let go where you want your toolbar to be positioned. You can put your toolbar on any edge of the main window, not just at the top. You can even drag it to an area away from any edge so that it becomes a floating toolbar positioned however you want. This can be convenient if you have a lot of unused screen space outside of your main window, or if you want to rearrange the positioning of all of your toolbars. It is very simple to drag them back at any time, even putting any floating toolbars back into a fixed position. When you see a narrow grey button with an arrow pointing down, you've found the end of your toolbar. Click on that button and a drop-down menu will appear. From here you can adjust the toolbar settings. If you don't want your toolbars to be moved around accidentally, you can lock them in place. You can close toolbars that you don't want appearing. However, it is a good idea to know the name of the toolbar first, before doing this, if you want to get it back easily. So, to find the name of my current toolbars, I go to View, Toolbars, and see which ones are ticked. I have Standard, Formatting, and Find. If I remove the Formatting toolbar, it will not appear anywhere in my main window, so I will have to go back to View, Toolbars, and select Formatting for it to reappear. Back in the toolbar's own drop-down menu, you have a similar ability for adjusting what buttons appear in each toolbar. Hover over Visible Buttons, and you'll see a list of all the buttons that could appear in that toolbar. All the current ones have a tick beside them, so if I click Bold, I'll see that the Bold button disappears, but I can easily get it back by going right back to the Visible Buttons menu and clicking it again to activate it. These options are great for customizing your experience, and when you're more advanced, you can use the Customize Toolbar option for even more settings relating to your toolbars. To the right of the central window is the sidebar. The sidebar holds a set of tools that have similar functions to the toolbars I've just been talking about. Each sidebar is different depending on what subprogram you're working in, which makes it a great place to find tools that are relevant to your project. The sidebar also has different panels which you can switch between just by clicking on the panel icon that you want. This way you can get buttons that are relevant to what you're doing in that moment. As you're becoming adept with Openoffice, it's also good to know what a context menu is and how to access it. It sounds complicated, but all it is the menu that appears when you right-click. This menu is different depending on what you right-click on, which is why it is called a context menu. But why is that useful? Well, at its core, a context menu gives you a series of options that are tailored to the thing you have right-clicked on, making it easier to find options that are relevant to what you are working on in that moment, rather than looking through all the options trying to figure out which ones you can actually use in this situation. So, for instance, right-clicking on an empty area of my Word document gives me a list of text-related options. However, if I select an area of text by left-clicking and dragging across it, and then right-clicking on that highlighted text, this will give me all the same options as before, because it's still text, and in the Writer's subprogram, but it also gives me two more options, cut and copy, which allows me to do something with that specific bit of highlighted text by cutting it out or making a copy which can be placed anywhere else by using the paste option. Now, right-clicking on the ruler along the top and left side of the central window gives completely different options, allowing me to adjust what unit of measurement is used by the ruler. So try right-clicking on different things for different contextual menus. At this point, you have a few different ways of navigating the tools available to you in any of the Openoffice subprograms. For more tutorials on Openoffice and other programs, please subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments or on my website, thetutorialmaker.blogspot.com. Alternatively, if you need a tutorial made, email me at robert.b.alexander@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.